You sit down to rest. Nothing is chasing you. Nothing needs you. And yet, you feel accused. Your body has stopped. But your mind begins counting. The dishes. The messages. The unfinished work. The person you should be becoming. You were tired a moment ago. Now you feel guilty. That is strange. Your body asked for rest. And your mind treated it like a crime. So you reach for your phone. Not because you want anything. Because your hands need an alibi. The screen gives you movement. Movement looks like purpose. And purpose makes the guilt quieter. Now you are doing something. Even if that something is nothing. This is the first glitch. Doing nothing feels worse than wasting time online. One looks inactive. The other looks occupied. Your mind has learned to prefer the appearance of action. But your body does not understand appearances. It understands effort, tension, fatigue, hunger, sleep. When energy falls, it asks you to stop. It does not ask whether stopping looks useful. For much of human history, rest followed effort. You walked. You carried. You gathered. You waited. Then the movement ended. The body became still. There was no dashboard. No daily score. No red number above your head. No invisible audience measuring the pause. Rest was not proof of failure. It was part of the rhythm. Effort. Stillness. Effort again. Modern rest is different. You stop moving. But nothing disappears. The unread message remains unread. The list remains unfinished. The deadline remains awake. And somewhere on your screen, someone is still working. Someone is waking earlier. Someone is exercising harder. Someone is becoming better. Or at least, that is what they chose to show you. Your old body sits on a sofa. Your modern mind enters a courtroom. It brings the evidence. The book you did not finish. The room you did not clean. The skill you did not learn. The future you did not build. Then it presents the final witness. A better version of you. This person is always nearby, but never real. It is an idea. And ideas do not get tired. They do not have muscles. They do not lose attention. They do not need quiet. They never wake up heavy. You are comparing a living body to a person who does not exist. The imaginary person always wins. That is where rest becomes dangerous. Every quiet hour looks like distance. Distance between who you are and who you could have been. So you make rest defend itself. You listen to a podcast while walking. You watch advice while eating. You answer messages from bed. You turn hobbies into skills. You turn exercise into data. You turn sleep into a score. Even recovery must produce evidence. Evidence that you did not waste it. You call this productive rest, which quietly creates another category. Unproductive rest. Bad rest. Useless rest. Rest with nothing to show for itself. Your body knows none of these words. It does not know that lying down at 2 p.m. looks lazy. It does not know it is Monday. It does not know that someone younger is ahead of you. It knows only the signals. The heavy eyes. The tight jaw. The shallow breath. The wish for less noise. But you have learned to rename those signals. Fatigue becomes weakness. Stillness becomes laziness. Boredom becomes failure. An empty afternoon becomes lost potential. The body sends a request. The world sends a correction. The correction is usually louder. That is the human glitch. Your body treats rest as maintenance. Your world treats rest as permission. Something you must earn. Something waiting at the end of the work. But the end keeps moving. Paid work follows you home. It enters your phone. It waits beside your bed. And when paid work ends, another shift begins. Manage the house. Manage your health. Manage your future. Manage how others see you. Manage yourself. The modern person is rarely allowed to be finished. You are a project with no final version. That is why a free evening can feel threatening. Without a task, you lose your proof. Proof that you are moving. Proof that you are useful. Proof that you deserve your place. The guilt is not always about work. Sometimes, it is about existence. If you produce nothing, what are you worth? If you improve nothing, are you falling behind? If you are not busy, are you still important? These questions rarely arrive as words. They arrive as movement. You open another tab. You check another message. You stand up without knowing why. You search for a small problem. Something to clean. Something to organize. Something to correct. The problem gives the moment a shape. It also protects you from silence. Because silence may reveal the deeper discomfort. You may not know how to exist without a purpose attached. That is newer than it feels. Human rest was often surrounded by signals of life. Other bodies. Moving air. Fire. Changing light. Sounds that wanted nothing from you. Modern rest often happens differently. Alone. Indoors. Under artificial light. Beside a machine filled with unfinished worlds. So when you stop, you do not enter peace. You enter a waiting room. The next demand can arrive at any moment. A vibration. A number. A name on a screen. Your body is still. But it never receives a clear signal. The day is over. You are no longer needed. You may become unreachable. This is why some rest does not feel restful. You stopped working. But you never stopped being available. Then you blame yourself. You say you are bad at relaxing. You say you wasted the weekend. You promise to rest better next time. Even leisure becomes a performance. But perhaps you are not bad at rest. Perhaps rest has been buried under too many meanings. Discipline. Ambition. Status. Worth. Perhaps guilt is not proof that you should get up. Perhaps it is only an alarm. Installed by a world that cannot stop. Your body never asked to earn recovery. It never asked whether stillness was useful. It only knew when it had carried enough. You call it doing nothing. Your body calls it stopping. And perhaps that is why rest feels so wrong. It reminds you that you are not a project. Not a score. Not a machine. Just a living body. In a world that only trusts movement.